welcome to one of RVN's still newer television shows, What the Why with Barbara Ann. If you haven't seen us before, our show features conversations with diverse leaders from all walks of life about why they do what they do and how they figured things out. So whether you happen to be sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, or maybe you feel stuck and you want to get unstuck, whether it's in your business, your job, or your life, you found the right show for you. Because if there's something that all of the leaders that we speak with have in common with you, it's that at some point in their lives, they were looking for something different or new or trying to find their mission or purpose in life. And today's guest is no exception. Our guest today, you've heard me mention a number of times that I trained in martial arts if you've watched in the past, and today's guest is my sensei, who is Master Stefano Cianelli. I'll talk a little bit more about all of the different titles he holds. And he is the owner and operator of Sudoku Martial Arts, LLC, a classical, you're going to get a Okinawan and Japanese and a little bit of Chinese language lesson in here today. We're a classical Okinawan karate school, also known as the Shibu Dojo under the North American Okinawan Goju-Ryu Kenshikai Karate Jutsu Kobo Jutsu Association. In addition, our school is a Fujian White Crane Chi Kung branch school of the Green Dragon Kuoshu Kwan of Taiwan. And that'll be on Jeopardy sometime later next month. Cianelli Sensei began his martial arts training in 1988 while attending Temple University in Shotokan Karate, which is ironically how I got started in college, under Sensei Teruyuki Okazaki?
Okazaki.
That was the one, okay. And that was back in 1988. So yes, he's been in martial arts that long. Then in 1992, he began studying USA Goju-Ryu under Senseis John Ostino Sr. and John Ostino Jr., and he attained the rank of 6th degree, also known as 6th Dan. In 2017, Sensei Cianelli began studying under Luis Morales, Hanshi of Kenshikai Okinawan Goju-Ryu Karate Jutsu Kobo Jutsu Association. And in 2019, he was officially accepted as a student and branch dojo of Na Kenshikai, which is what we all study. And then in June 2020, he was promoted to 6th Dan in Okinawan Goju-Ryu under the direction again of Hanshi Luis Morales, and then also under the head of the Okinawan system, 10th Dan, which in other styles we would acknowledge as Grand Master Tetsuhiro Hokama, and the 6th Dan in Ryukyu Hokama Kobu Jutsu. Now, our system operates from a place of learning and humility, and as I mentioned in the, preview last week, many of the people of advanced rank just straight up prefer to be called sensei, including the head of our system, regardless of whatever level they've obtained. Because once a student, always a student. But sensei does a lot more than just train. In addition to his drive to learn and fully understand the art, he's also very much into the science of martial arts, which has led sensei to research and edit and co-author articles, papers, and books on martial arts and martial science. I'm so excited he can join us today, so without further ado, please join us in welcoming Sensei Stefano, otherwise known as Steve Cianelli, also known as Yan Si-Fen in Chinese. So, welcome, yay!
Thank you, it's a pleasure to be here.
So, it's a lot. I only butchered one word. I am still working on my my kanji and my Japanese and Okinawan terms. And this is your passion.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. If you could do anything else in the world, this is what you would do.
I would do nothing else other than this.
Mm-hmm. You started in 1988. I don't know if this is something that you've always wanted to do since childhood, but so tell our viewers, what is it that little sensei, pre-sensei, wanted to do when he was growing up?
Actually, I wanted to be an engineer, which is why I was at Temple University. I was going through the engineering program and ultimately graduated from there and got my degree in engineering, electrical engineering, and started my career in 1992 working for an engineering firm in Cherry Hill. And having studied martial arts as a 2-credit phys ed class way back when. On my drive home, as I was still living in Philly at the time, I would pass by this dojo. So I stopped in one night, and that's how I met senseis Ostino Sr. and Jr. And it was a very welcoming, friendly environment. And I decided to take a few classes and then ultimately signed up. And hence the journey in the Goju world. And that was, again, not knowing at the time all the background behind it. That was the USA Goju system, which was a derivative of the Japanese Goju system under Gojen Yamaguchi. And this one was by Peter Urban, who had studied back in the 50s under Gojen Yamaguchi, and he brought the system back to the East Coast. And a lot of history and background behind that, but ultimately he propagated the system essentially of Japanese Goju with some modifications under his own direction here in the United States. And that's basically what you find in this particular area of martial arts for anybody wanting to study Goju-Ryu. So that's basically how I got started on this path.
Okay. And I met you while you were still on that path.
Yes.
You and my mother were both members of the United Martial Arts Referees Association, which I'm also a member of now. And we had been looking for a school, and her sensei, the late Grandmaster Marty Manuel, had been screening schools for us. And it seemed like every school we picked, because my son wanted to really enroll, he was like, no, 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 no. And just when we were finally maybe looking at something about 45 minutes away, you mentioned that you were going to be opening your own school.
That was back in 2011. It was a long journey up to that point, but I was getting in that range of I needed to do something more than what I was doing. And the opportunity kind of fell in my lap on my drive home one night from Grandmaster Martin's class. As I was driving by, there was a sign for a facility that had just been renovated. And I stopped in, and the landlord happened to be there, and we chatted. And I decided to take the plunge and go. I had a little bit longer than that, but I had the blessing eventually of Grandmaster Martin and my then teacher, John Ostino Jr. I had spoken with them and told them what my thoughts were on the journey and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, and they gave me their blessing to open the school and continue teaching and learning and basically propagating what both of them had taught me. So it was a good opportunity, and didn't know if it was going to be a successful one at the time, but took the plunge, and here we are 11 years later, and we're still going.
Yeah. And it's hard to believe that, it really has been 11 years. I still have my little student enrollment card. I don't even know if we do them anymore. My card says, I think it's 003 on it. I was student number 3. And there was a small group of us that have still been there from day one.
I have a good core of students that have been with me, such as you, essentially from day one. And there are those that have been with me that long, with the exception of Ricky. Everybody else is an adult, and you guys have all made it to the black belt level. Ricky is a junior black belt, and as you know, in our school, we don't promote anybody until they're at the adult level due to the maturity level that we believe in, that you need. We don't promote 10-year-olds or to black belt level.
Yeah, no, we're much more, we're more about the traditional and the authentic, and how much can a 7-year-old third-degree black belt really understand. And we've seen some of them kind of come in and out, and it's been rather educational. Not to criticize overly anyone else.
Well, everybody has their own path
Right.
and their own choices that they make. My choice when I decided to open up the school, and my daughter, who I also had studying and got her to black belt level as well, she still laughs at me to this day when we go back and look at the business plan that was written. And there were certain things that we wrote in there that we were just not going to do. And we specifically stated that that was not going to be part of it, and birthday parties and games and things like that. We wanted to keep it very traditional, and the focus was on martial arts and learning how to defend yourself. That was the ultimate goal. Because ultimately, once you leave the doors of the dojo and you're out on the street, nobody cares what belt level you are. It's basically what you know and what you can do. So everything that we teach is from a very sound scientific approach, and there's nothing made up. Everything comes from our system in our forms, and we make sure that people know the basics. As you well know in class, we drill the basics every single day, because without that, you have nothing.
Yep. House can't stand on a poor foundation.
Nope.
And as long as I've trained with you, you've always been exploring. You've always introduced us to other new interesting things, whether
Yes.
it's been traditional Okinawan dance, whether it's been, other opportunities to learn more. I didn't even mention that we train in Iaido sword and Kendo and some other things. And in addition to the Okinawan side, I mentioned earlier, we have our Chinese school affiliation with Grandmaster and Master Martin in Bordentown. And we've done a lot with them and learned from them as well. But then in 2017, we go to this event in Maryland. And you had already met Hokuma Sensei
Yes.
at another event.
That was in June of 2017. I had seen an advertisement that this Okinawan master of Goju-Ryu was coming to the United States, and he was going to be having the seminar up in North Jersey. So I looked at it and said, this is a good opportunity to go and see what real Okinawan Goju-Ryu is like. And I took two of my students. One was your husband, and the other was Mike DiToronto with me. We had a wonderful day of training and interacting, and I was blown away by Sensei Hokuma. He was just fantastic in everything that he did, how he presented it. There was no language barrier. Being Japanese Okinawan, he spoke fairly good English, but in the martial arts, it's more of demonstrating and then interacting that way, and his demonstrations were just phenomenal, and I was just blown away. And my goal at that point was, how do we become part of his organization?
Okay. Now, believe it or not, we joked about this before the show, it's time for the halfway break.
Okay.
So we're going to come back and hear about that evolution. During the break, please be sure to pay attention, because right before we come back, you're actually going to see a video that Sensei Cianelli, one of his many other talents, is, I keep telling him he's got Yancy Fen Productions, Yancy Fen, you name it. And so as we come back from break, you're going to see a video about Tsuruki. Welcome back to What the Why with Barbara Ann, and today's guest, my sensei, Stefano Cianelli, who has many different titles along with that. So you got Sifu, you've got a whole bunch of other ones in there as well. But as I mentioned earlier in the episode, we're always a student, so the title isn't really the emphasis. But you got to meet Hokuma Sensei.
Yes, I did.
And the spark had been lit.
I'd been searching for something. I didn't know what that something was. And once I met Hokuma Sensei, I knew that that's what I've been looking for. What he was showing in the martial arts was completely different than anything else I had ever seen. And then fast forward to October of 2017, there was another seminar in Maryland. And a few of the people that were there, I had known. One person I knew personally, the other ones I had known by name. And I saw that Hanshi Luis Morales was going to be there to teach. And at that point I said, all right, let's go, road trip.
We went.
And we took a bunch of students down there. You guys were brown belts at the time, and we met Sensei Morales, and we struck up a nice conversation. Enjoyed his portion of the seminar immensely, and he invited me and the rest of us to his black belt class the following weekend, and a few of us went and attended, and it's been a nice journey with him since then. We've been with him since that point.
I remember there's some very specific things during the seminar itself, and your eyes, you could just see, like the more he showed, and you would say, oh, show me more, show me more, show me more. And the more he showed, the more you lit up. And I was like, okay, our lives are never going to be the same after this. And they haven't been.
No, and it's been a new fork on the journey. We have to go down a different path, and a lot of the things that we had originally thought we knew, we had to relearn. Some things we had to modify, but for the most part, the base was sound. It was there. It was now really growing as martial artists and really understanding what it was we were doing and why. And Sensei Morales has helped me to get to that level, to understand the whys. And we always ask why. No matter what we do, as you can keep saying, always a student. That's Sensei Morales' motto. And we never stop learning. It's a constant evolution. We may know something today, and then we keep analyzing it, and then tomorrow it changes because we see something different, or we learn something else that affects that. So it's a constant, ever-changing but growing thing with under Sensei Morales and the whole organization, and that stems from Hokuma Sensei. You know, Hokuma Sensei instilled that in Sensei Morales, and Sensei Morales continues to propagate that down to us, and I do that to my students. And you always have to ask why. Never sit still and be happy with the status quo. It's constant learning, evolution. Otherwise, you never grow. You just become stagnant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with that in mind, I mean, we were all just together on Saturday at a weapons seminar, and in the heat, there we all were.
Hot.
It was really
hot.
But you know, those are some of the most awesome times. I mean, you come out of there and you're exhausted.
Yes.
But energized at the same time.
There was a lot of things that at the beginning of that seminar that we did that translated into the empty hand from the weapons, and you could see where the one helps the other, and it was very eye-opening for a lot of people. And I picked up a few new things, you know, just doing that, and that's what it's about. It's a constant learning and you know, evolving into the next level. You know, that's how you become a teacher, how you can propagate the system, and it's doing doing honor and respect to the people that have gone before you.
Now you have a wide variety of students too. I don't. The video showed some of it. I mean, but you've had students that are all different ages. Some of which are on, they're neurodiverse, have physical limitations, and you have a larger percentage of women.
Yes.
Than a lot of other styles or even dojos have. What do you attribute to the inclusivity of your approach?
It's a welcoming atmosphere. All my experiences up until the point where I opened up the dojo have always been with instructors that were welcoming. And you follow in their footsteps and what they do. Sensei Morales says, about emulation. You emulate your teachers, but then you try and be better than what they were and what they do. And, that's kind of the approach that I had taken, whereas I saw what my teachers did for me, and it was my obligation now to give back and do more. And so my philosophy is that my door is always open. Anybody can walk through it. It's just the student has to make that commitment to come through the door and train. That's all I ask. The rest of it takes care of itself. There's, we look at it as a family once you join our school.
Very much so. I mean, for me, literally, it's a family affair. I mean, other than my son right now, but we trained all together as a family. In terms of if someone out there is thinking about studying martial arts, there, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of variation, shall I say?
There's a lot of diversity.
A lot of diversity out there in terms of what constitutes the right path for people. What's one myth in particular, or even more than one if you have to share, that you would like our audience to know about martial arts?
I don't know if there's any particular myth per se. It's more about finding the right location, the right system, the right style for you. Knowing what I know now versus what I knew when I first started, do your research, evaluate, go take a few classes, see if it's something that really fits what it is you want to do. I always offer people free classes. Come in, take a class, see if what we do and how we approach it is what you're looking for. For some people, it isn't. We're not about rank. We're not about getting you to that next belt level and charging you ridiculous fees. The fees we charge is just enough to keep the lights on. That's it. And then we're just about learning. So if it takes you 10 years to get from white belt to yellow belt, or it takes you 10 years to get from white belt to black belt, that's your journey. And there's no pressure. It's all about what you want to do and how you want to learn, and how you want to progress. Other schools have different philosophies in how they do it, and each school is different. You just have to evaluate and see what fits into your lifestyle. As I mentioned earlier, I don't promote children to black belt level. So if that's something that you're looking for in your path, that you want your son or daughter at a very young age to have that black belt, we're not the school for you. But if you want your child or yourself to learn and understand the martial arts and understand how to defend yourself, then come see us, because then we're the school for you. Because it's not about rank, it's about knowledge.
And believe it or not, we are out of time. So that is the perfect note to end on. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, because I know we've got open class tonight, to share your story with our viewers. What is the best way for people to connect with you and learn more about Tsurugi martial arts, and any other related information out there? Because we're, like I said, we're involved in a lot of different things as well.
Best way is just to call or stop by the school. Surukey Martial Arts is located in Hainesport, New Jersey. We're right there on Route 38, and you can Google us. We're available on just about any social media platform. You can find us. All the information is there. If you want to call, the number is 609-458-2232.
Perfect. So thank you again for taking time to be here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And because everybody knows that I talk about it all the time as part of my journey. So next week, we have another person who is actually a small, much smaller part of my journey, but a part of my journey. And so I'm excited to welcome Mary Lynn Harris. Mary Lynn is the Chief Knowledge Officer of End-of-Life Doula Services and the owner of Heart at Works, LLC. In addition to being a business and life coach, Mary Lynn hosts the national podcast, What Difference Are You Making?, which was the very first national podcast on which I ever had the honor of being a guest. So that was my journey with her. As if her multiple roles in the coaching industry were not enough, Mary Lynn is also the founder and chief creator of Sedona Pies. Sedona, yes, Sedona. Mary Lynn will be joining me from California as my very first remote guest. Suffice to say, you really do not want to miss what Mary Lynn or any of our upcoming guests will be sharing about how they figured out their whys. As a reminder, What the Why airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. and then on Mondays at 3:30 p.m. It's also available on demand at rvntelevision.com as well as Roku. So please remember, whether you are looking to make any changes in your life, no matter how big or small, please tune in for future informative and inspirational conversations with people like my sensei, Stefano Cianelli, aka Steve, aka Yancy Fenn, and others who decided they wanted to make a major change in their life and overcame whatever fears or obstacles may have been in their paths to achieve it, to find their purpose and live it.